Hello, everyone. You are listening to the Let's Live with Alexandria Fraser podcast, a podcast hosted by me, your host, Alexandria Fraser. I literally just said that, me, your host, but that's okay. And so for today's podcast episode, we are doing an interview with Maddie Mooney, the Madison Mooney.
Hello, everybody.
She runs here at UW-Madison as well, as my last interview was, and this time Maddie's from the United States and grew up in Colorado, but we can get into that. So with that being said, let's jump right into it.
Sweet. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Do you want to sort of do an introduction of like how you got into running, where you grew up, kind of like your lifestyle growing up and everything?
Sure. So, I'm from Colorado, as you just said, and my family is a runner family. Like both my parents ran in college at Florida State, and then so I have three siblings, and two of my siblings are also runners. But yeah, I got into running when I started high school because my older sister was on the cross country team and she had a pretty good like natural ability, was doing well in the races. And so I thought I was probably going to be good too. At that time I'd been playing soccer my whole life. So I kind of had to make a decision. Do I want to pursue running and to go with that full time or try to keep doing both? And my freshman year of high school, I tried to do both, and it was just way too much. So I flipped the switch. I became a runner, hung up the soccer cleats, and yeah, I haven't looked back. I've loved it since. It brought me here, so it's been a good decision.
For sure. And what events do you run now in college?
So I'm on the cross-country team, but I focus more on track, and I run the mile and the 800 are my main events.
Okay. What was like in high school, what would you do to like get to the next level? Sort of.
I guess I was fortunate in high school that I had like a lot of people to train with. I know a lot of high schoolers kind of struggle with like not having teammates who are at the same level as them or having to like run with the boys team all the time. So I was fortunate that I had teammates who I could train with every day. But honestly, I'd really say like just trusting the process, trusting like the training you do with your coach and having fun with it. Like especially at the high school level, you should really be like enjoying your races, enjoying going to practice every day, like having fun. And if you're doing all those things, I think the fast times will come. Yeah, just kind of like leaning into it basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you didn't double sport at all, you said in high school, right? Okay.
I double sport.
Like doing soccer and
I did for like for half of a year and then I stopped.
Yeah, I feel like it's difficult. What did you get like hurt when you were doing it?
No, it was more so like I would go to cross country practice with my high school right after school, and then I would have to leave that early to drive to soccer practice, which I would be a little bit late to, and then by the time I got home with soccer, I was doing homework and like I was like missed dinner. I'd like reheat dinner for the night and stuff, and it was just like a lot. And also with soccer, if you want to play in college, you kind of have to be on like an ECNL team, or I don't know what, I think they like changed what the big league is called now, but it's just like a whole nother level, and it's like practices were farther away, and yeah, it was just too much to try to be, like, elite in both of them for me personally, and I thought if I dove all into one, I could, like, really excel at it. So.
Yeah, for sure. What made you pick Wisconsin? Because you were originally in Colorado. Colorado's great.
Yeah. So I looked at going to University of Colorado because they are such, like, a prominent running school, and they've produced a lot of really good athletes. So I was interested in going there, but ultimately, I decided I wanted to go somewhere totally new where I wasn't going to have a bunch of people from my high school there. I wasn't going to run into people I knew already, and I could kind of just, like, start fresh and be independent. I've always kind of liked being, not necessarily on my own, but just, like, being able to, like, say I do my own thing, you know?
Yeah.
And so I looked at Wisconsin. I took a visit to University of Washington, University of Utah, and Cal Berkeley. Those were the 5 official visits I took, and I just loved it here. I just fell in love with the vibe of Wisconsin. Yeah, like you don't know until you've like gone to a Wisconsin football game, like what it's like really like the sports atmosphere here and stuff. I just felt like I was going to have a fun time. I felt like the people around me were good people. The coaches were good people. And, I kind of just sent it.
You just went for it. Yeah, absolutely. And where's like your favorite place to either like study, run, sort of things to do around here? 'Cause I know winters can suck, but
yeah. So studying, Wisconsin has literally, I think, the best coffee shops of any campus I've ever visited. We have so many coffee shops here. And so my favorite, well, actually, before I came here, I was just at Leopold's, which is like a really cool like bar, coffee shop, bookstore like combination. And that's just really close to my house, so I go there a lot. But I think my favorite coffee shop to study in is Ancora up by the Capitol building. Yeah. That one's just like really cute, really good vibe, good food. My favorite places to run. So one thing I was surprised about coming here, because it's like the capital of Wisconsin and it's a city, a small city. I really thought there wasn't going to be very many like dirt trails or like soft surface options for running, and there's a lot. So that's something that I was like very pleasantly surprised about coming here. But I think my favorite places are running through the Arb.
I love that.
Yep.
I love it.
And to Picnic Point in the fall when all the leaves are super colorful. That's always a good one.
Yeah, okay. I like all that too. And where do you guys like, I mean, I'm sure you guys go to your official course for like speed workouts for cross country. You guys go to the course to do those?
Yeah, we like bus over to the course, or like team vans. We like drive over to the course usually once a week during cross country season.
What's like a typical day in your life, would you say, for an athlete here?
Well, I guess it's kind of similar between cross country and track, but for like the track season, I will get up, I'll do some homework, kind of have like a slow start to my mornings. My class schedule right now is very like evening and night class focused, which is like very different than my undergrad experience here, where I had classes like during the day. So I have like pretty slow start to my mornings. I do some homework and then I work in an internship remotely.
Oh, nice.
And so that's cool. I do, so I work 20 hours a week. So I do about like 4 hours a day until I go to practice, which our practice is at 2:30 every day. And we run or whatever, we do whatever we're going to do for the day. And then sometimes we have to lift afterwards. And then usually I go home, make dinner, and then go to class. So that's kind of my typical day-to-day for like a school day. Okay.
And what, like, so kind of shifting gears into growing as a runner in high school, because I know I kind of was just there like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
How can people get to like the next level in order to run in college and like get recruited? And because I remember I applied to so many different schools and like obviously Wisconsin I think was too quick for me, but like Adams State was a pretty good college that I was at.
And they're really good running school.
I loved it out there, but it was just kind of like, I don't know, too much I think for me as well. I was hurt, so it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
I need something else. But for people who do want to like get into running and sort of decide like D1, D2, D3 and like get to that next level, even if it's like freshman year, sophomore year, whenever it is, like how can they do that?
Well, the thing about running is it's like with the recruiting process is it's pretty black and white in terms of like a coach is going to look up your name in your like mile split or your athletic.net or whatever and see what times you've run. And so I guess like depending on what school you're looking at, like you may or may not, like a coach might not be interested like from the get-go just if you aren't quite fast enough yet. That being said, it's really important to build relationships with coaches. So I would recommend what I did when I started my recruiting process as a junior, and I'm so old now, I know like the rules have changed from like when you can start talking to coaches and whatnot. But when I was in high school, you couldn't talk to coaches until your junior year, going into your junior year of high school. And me and my mom sat down and we went to every single school, pretty much like almost every big school, because I was like, I have no clue where I want to go. Like everything sounds cool to me. And we went and most schools will have like a questionnaire on their website. And so I filled out the questionnaire, which is often like your, I don't know, basic info, what times you've run, that kind of stuff. And then immediately after I filled out the questionnaire, I sent an email to the coach. and said, "Hi, coach, blah, blah. I'm like super interested in University of whatever. I just filled out your questionnaire and like I'd love to get into contact with you. Here's my number, here's my email, whatever." And so I think like taking that first step and doing both of those things like really initiates like your interest in a school. And I got ghosted by so many coaches. Like and that's I think also why it was important I reached out to so many different schools at the beginning, because some coaches just aren't interested. Some coaches just don't have scholarship money if that's something that you need or are looking for. So building that relationship with a coach is huge, especially if you don't have the times on your side yet, because then if you run a really good race later in your season, you already have that connection and you already have that relationship with the coach. So then it's really easy to be like, oh, look, I just ran a 5:05 mile kind of thing, and now all of a sudden they're interested in you. So I think building relationships with coaches would be the biggest thing as a high school athlete to do if you're trying to run in college.
Are there any like specific workouts that you would do when you were in high school? I mean, also I know you were coming from altitude. How did that also change coming down? Like, obviously it helps people, but did it help you a lot?
That was kind of interesting because like your times are a little bit slower if you live in altitude than people who run at sea level. And so I always included that when I was talking to coaches, like, this is my PR. Also, it's at altitude, like, keep in mind kind of thing. It definitely helped me. Like, I remember I raced at Arcadia, which is a big meet in California in the track season. And I raced there my sophomore, junior, and senior year, just as like a team trip kind of thing. And when I would go race at sea level like that, it did feel different. I remember like I would hit the third lap of the mile and just be like, I feel amazing still. Like, I feel great. So that definitely had an impact on my racing and my training. As far as workouts we would do, it's kind of hard to remember. I do think it's important in high school to not overdo it. Because it's like very easy to develop like unhealthy habits and I don't know, just like a bad mentality with the sport if you're like constantly getting injured at 16 years old or like you are having a hard time like with your relationship with food at such a young age. And I think it's important to be careful of those things. Like, it's really good to have big goals and to want to win your state meet or to want to go race in college at whatever school, but not at the expense of your like mental health or your physical health. So I think for my high school workouts, I don't remember them being too crazy. I think they were more like, I don't know. We would do like K repeats, but we'd only do like 4 of them kind of thing. Like it was nothing like insane or intense. So
it's more just fun. I like what you said, have more fun with it. 'Cause you will burn out, I feel like, if you keep going. And that kind of happened to me too. I was just over it. Like, I don't know, I was running like 60 miles a week when I was a junior and senior. And that was way too much.
Right, in high school,
Way too much. It was crazy. But I think it all works out. But like you said, and I think like sort of with like the food thing too, it's super hard I feel like, especially females, like in these kind of days, that it's like you're kind of told that like lighter is better, and that's not
there's so many like ways to fall into the trap, which is just really sad. But
absolutely. And like for people who are just getting into running, like what would you recommend for them? Because I know a lot of people will say, oh, I hate it, and like the year that I took fully off of running, I was like, I'm never going back. And now I'm like, I run like 8 miles a day, and like it's all fun.
If you're just getting into running, my advice would be to like stick with it. Because when I was a sophomore in college, I broke my sacrum. I got a stress fracture in my sacrum, which is the bottom of your back. And then COVID hit, everything shut down like pretty soon after. And I just stopped training because I was like, I'm injured, there's no races coming up, I'm not motivated, like I stopped cross training. I just stopped being in shape. And so I took, I think maybe like 2 to 3 months completely off at that time. And when I came back and started running again, it was really hard because I had been so long since I was like totally out of shape like that. So my advice would be just to keep going because you're gonna feel better eventually, and you're gonna like kind of get that runner's high and want to go a little farther and a little longer eventually.
Yeah, and also going slow. Like, I feel like my biggest problem too would be always be like starting off so fast, and it's just
right. And then a few
done.
miles later, you're like, what did I do?
That's literally how I felt every time. But yeah, what's your future here? Like, what are you doing right now? Are you still running and everything? Because you're in grad school.
Yeah, so I'm in grad school, and it's a like minimum credit program, so it's 30 credits to graduate. So right now I'm on track to graduate in the spring. However, I do still have a year of eligibility. So I might extend that out another year and stay and run again. It kind of depends on how this track season goes for me. And if I still, for me, it's where I'm happiest and what I love doing. So if I still really love running here and being at Wisconsin, I'm definitely going to stay. That's my plan for the future right now, is to stay. And then hopefully if I run really fast, maybe there's always like the like dream of like being a pro runner. So maybe that's in the cards. If not, I do always want running to be a part of my life. So maybe a little coaching gig, who knows? Yeah.
And you still love it no matter what, like everything you've been through, because I know it's hard sometimes, like when you're at a high level. Like, are there some days where you wake up and you're like, I cannot do this today?
Right. Yeah, definitely. Or sometimes, like, even this morning, I was going to run in the morning, and my alarm went off, and I was like, not happening. I can squeeze it in somewhere else.
We can figure it out.
Right.
How do you make sure you stay motivated?
I don't know. For me, that's never really been too big of a problem when I'm healthy, because I always just have my goals in the back of my mind. I'm always just like, I'm motivated because like I want to be an All-American, and that's what gets me, to go do the things I need to do. But there's been times, like even just like a couple months ago, a couple weeks ago, I was having Achilles problems, and I was crying to my roommate, and I was just like, it's over, like my indoor season's over kind of thing, and I didn't really want to do anything. And so sometimes you do need to lean on your teammates and your friends, and I think that's applicable to all aspects of life, not just running and sport. But my teammates and my friends keep me motivated as well.
I love that. For sure. And do you want to also list all your socials as well as like your YouTube?
Yeah.
I love it.
Definitely. So my Instagram is at Maddie Mooney. So it's with an extra Y on the end. So it's MaddieMooneyy. And then my YouTube is the same. They just added like @ handles on YouTube.
Yeah, I saw that.
So it's the same handle as my Instagram, but the page is actually just called Maddie Mooney.
I'll also link them all below.
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
This
thank
is
you
so
for having
cool.
me.
Oh my gosh, of course.